Hello everybody and welcome back to Gardens and Crystals with me, Wesley Peterson, and today I have another houseplant video for you, and this time it's going to be all about my beautiful plant in front of me here that I've had for quite a while now. This is my beautiful Philodendron hastatum silver sword, and this plant I did a video on a while back, and you can go back and see that where I staked it up because it started flopping and getting quite big. And after that time it had a period where it didn't do so well because where it was in my home was, I think, too shady for it, and it started to slowly deteriorate. So that year I put it out in the garden and it started growing out a little bit, and then I took it in for the winter last year and left it in our hallway, so it was on the floor in front of our south facing window, and that room doesn't get as warm as the rest of the house when I close the door at night and so forth, but that seemed to do the trick. This plant started growing out again and started growing up tall again because I had to prune it right back, and you'll see in a moment when I show you closer the points where I pruned it back and it started growing out. And this summer season, well, it's just grown all of this, and that is absolutely fabulous. But again, it's getting leggy and it's starting to stretch out, and I haven't tied it to the stake. But I think I want to start off again, because when I moved it from outside and was just about to take it indoors, then this part of one of these stems broke off because it's very thin at the bottom. So I'm going to bring this in to show you close up first, and why I'm actually going to restart the whole plant again. So here's the stem. If I show you from the back side, you can see it's long, it's got lots of nodes and lots of roots ready to burst. So I have lots of areas where I can make new small plants. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to go in and prune these back and place all of my new cuttings in the terracotta pot I have behind me, as well as keeping the main mother roots and the main stems in the middle of the pot. So I'll just prune right back and plant all of what will be my soil propagations around the edge, and let this plant take off as a bigger bundle, because I know it's going to end up legging out again anyway, and space wise I would like to keep it as a small amount here. So have a closer look. So there you go, you can see these lovely beautiful silver leaves, and you can see at the top there's a whole new leaf here coming out. So this plant is happily growing out perfectly. I love the colour of this plant, and I'm glad it's still going for me, even though it's had troublesome times. Because it's been outside under this leaf, there's some kind of webbing, but whatever was in there has disappeared now. I think it was a spider's nest, so we can remove. Oh, I can't get it off me. We can remove that. Bye bye. And there are some leaves here with holes in and so forth, but that doesn't matter. The plant is happy and healthy and just needs to be restarted again. So that is what I'm going to do. So here is the main mother plant, and well, shaking it around like this, I am afraid that some of the stems could snap again, but it doesn't matter. As I said, I'm going to be starting this off. I don't really want this plant being tied up as it is here on this stake looking like this. So I really want to make a lovely mounding plant again. And you can see at the back here, this is where the other stem snapped off because it got quite thin. And the main mother stem, this will grow out a new top again. So I'm going to keep all the root balls in the middle and place everything else around the edge. But have a look at this. Isn't it just gorgeous, this plant? Look at that, lovely leaves. Oh, and this beautiful weather today. It's just perfect to get out and do a job like this. So this plant will be sorted out and ready to start its winter period indoors before I put it back outside next spring. So right, the first thing I need to do is put a little bit of soil in the bottom of this pot so that I know that I'll be able to keep this plant safe and snug in the middle. So I'll do that first, and this time I am just going to be putting my garden mix in that I always do really, and often I've just mixed with sand and biochar and leca balls and all sorts of things to air the soil out, but I'm actually going to do it different this time. I'm just going to put the gardening mix in because I have this terracotta pot and I found a lot of my plants with too many things in the soil to dry out the soil too much is actually drying them out too quickly, because they're in a terracotta pot that wickers out all of the moisture anyway. So this gardening soil should be okay, and the plant will still have all the original soil around the main root ball. And we'll see how this goes. I'll show you later, but I'm sure this is going to be fine. So, soil. Like that. And now to just put my mother plant root ball over in this pot. We'll see how I get this out. Stick, don't need that. So it's come up very easily. I'm not going to spend any time taking it over to the camera, but you can see there's a lot of roots, so it's very happy. And I don't want to disturb it too much. I want to keep it as it is. So now I've got the main root ball in here. I need to prune off these top parts straight away to give me space to be able to work the soil around the bottom of this pot. Don't need that pot anymore. Out in the garden it goes. Right, where are my scissors? My scissors are here. Let's get chopping. So this one grew out 2 new stems on this. Oi, very hard to break. Ow, my finger got caught in the middle of the scissors. Okay, so there's a beautiful bundle there. Lovely, lots of plants I can get out of that. So, put all these around the front. And there's something wonderful about this plant. When you prune it, it has the most wonderful smell in its sap. I absolutely love it. So, the next one, I'm going to prune. Oh, this is very thin, so I might as well prune this all the way down, this one. That one. Another one here. And then this final one here, prune it right back down here. And away it goes. So that is my plant now, pulled apart completely. And I need to take the string off because I don't want this stake in the middle of my plant anymore. Fed up with seeing that. So this is biodegradable over the edge. Now I've got my tag. So you can see something here. Where did I want to put the front actually, because I've got that tag there at the back. So what I'm going to do is break down some of the soil that's already around the root ball, which is much more than the roots anyway, and then I can add new soil and mix that in as I go along. So it still will have, because I can see this has perlite in it, sand and so forth, the other soil, and this will actually just bring it back to not being too much sand and perlite and so forth, drying out the plant too much. And also I need good fresh soil for all of my cuttings that I'm going to be putting in here now. So this is going quite well. I need a lot more because they didn't have much soil last time. So this is starting to get there. Churn it around a little bit, like that. So now I can start pressing down the soil a little bit, not too firmly, just to see how much I have. A little bit more. I do want to keep a bit of a lip so that I can water with ease later. But at the same time there needs to be enough soil for these cuttings to be able to establish themselves well and easy. So right, that looks quite good, and it's also taken away some of those dried roots that were on top of the soil before of the main mother ball, and that's nice. So now I'm just excavating the soil so it's not too high around the main mother plant now here. But that wouldn't matter. I'm sure it would just probably grow out some more roots into the soil. I'll be very happy with the new nutrients that it's going to get now. So now that's all done. So all I have to do now is start chopping up my pieces of my mother plant and placing them where I want to put them. So, well, I'll take this one first. And I'm going to divide it into 2 pieces. First one, I want to put this one on the side because it's not so big. So basically put it in the soil, place the soil around, firm it around the bottom of the stem a little bit. And that's the first one ready to go. Next one, C. Yes, I'll just place all this in the soil. So this one we can put maybe on this side here. One here. Make a hole, place it in deep enough and put your soil around. There we go. 2 pieces already in. So now I'm going to move on to this one. This is basically 2 stems together. I'll show you closer. So look at this. That's 2 stems together at the bottom. So I just need to prune those into 2. So to do that, basically in between those 2 stems and chop. It's a bit hard. And there we go. I have 2 new plants. And I just want to show you where I'm pruning. So this one I'm going to make into 2 plants, I think. So where I prune it is just above the last leaf that I want to be on the top of the cutting. So there we go. That one's been pruned off just like that, perfect. And you can see it's got roots where the nodes are in lots of different spaces. And here as well, 2 roots there with the node area. And it doesn't matter that there's this little centimetre of extra stem there. These 2 are going to be perfect to put in the pot. I could also cut there and make that into a plant, but I don't want to make them too small. And I also want to get them a little bit further down in the soil to give them a good chance to root. So right, I want to put this one more in the middle. It's quite a nice piece. So I'll make a deep hole here, put it in, firm the soil around, and that one's ready to go too. And then this other one I want to place at the front. We'll get this, make a little hole here, and place that down at the front, just like that. Very nice. And oh, I have lots more to go. This is a thin one, so we're going to prune it where it got thinner, which is around here. And even this stem with nothing on it has nodes, has roots, so I'm going to place it in my pot and it could grow out a new top. So this little one here, we can put this down at the front as well, down here, hanging down, make a hole, in that one goes. Perfect, just get the soil around. This is starting to take off really well already, right? The stem, put it in a spot where I can hide it, which is in here. In that goes, gone. And now my last couple of stems. This one I'm going to prune here. And this one, this is too long. You don't want to leave like 5 to 10 centimeters of stem underneath a node. You can leave around 1 centimeter so that if there's any rot, the plant has space for it to callus over. And of course, a good idea is that you can let the end of the stem, as you can see here, callus over for a couple of hours or even a couple of days. The one piece of stem I showed you at the beginning of the video was laying on the floor in my house for about 3 or 4 days without me doing anything, and it was still absolutely fine. So you can let that callus over, but I just want to get this done now, and I'm sure these plants will be okay. So this beautiful piece with these lovely leaves has to go on the side at the back here, and I want to make sure all of the roots get in on this one because it's such a lovely specimen. So that one's in. The little bit of stem, again, it has a node area, so I'm just going to place it in the soil, cover it up, and let those roots grow out into a new plant. Now I have this one, and again with this one, this bump is too much and I don't need that, so I'm going to cut just under where the nodes are. There you go, you can see the root there and the node. So this is going to be perfect to plant like this. So in the back with this one. And then I have my final piece that I want to make into 2 pieces as well. One there. Again, this bottom is too long, so we'll cut into my garden that bit. And I have my last 2 pieces to plant now. One back here. Looking very good. Well, that one's really nice in there. Lovely leaves. Oh, and then I have this final one that I think, let's have a little look here. I actually need to put this at the front. So hold here. And in it goes. So that is my plant rearranged and planted. And now I'm thinking I really don't like the look of these stems, this tall like this. So I'm going to actually halve them, and I can see one is growing out a new leaf. So I can halve that one and halve this one. And then replant this into the pot, just anywhere I want. Make a hole, and in it goes further down, out of the way. And then this one I can cut back to just where, oh, so very hard, where there was a leaf bud, and placing this in the soil and see if it wants to take off as well. So we'll make a hole here on the edge, and in with that. As simple as that, really. Actually, I have one here that I'd like to make into 2 because it just looks so beautiful, this leaf. So why not? There. So well, there we go. This is my new plant arrangement, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic. So now I really hope that all of these soil propagations are going to take off fabulously. So what I'm not going to do is I am not going to water this for around a week. There's a little bit of moisture in this soil, and that is enough to boost these plants off. I don't want them now going and rotting on me because I've planted them straight away in the pot without letting them callus off. And no, that will not make me happy. I've had this plant for many years now, and this was just a video to show what you can do if your Philodendron hastatum silver sword starts getting leggy, or starts getting yellow leaves, or starts getting a bit fussy in some way. Go in, prune it back, get some new soil, get a nice pot, terracotta preferably, because this plant likes to be watered. It likes to actually stay a little bit moist, but it most definitely doesn't like to be soggy or bogged down in water in any way. So rather on the dry side rather than too wet. So in a terracotta pot, you know that you can water this plant and it won't stay wet too long. Slight periods of dryness are absolutely fine, but definitely not overwatering. So I'm not going to water this now, as I said, for a week, and then I will give it a slight shallow water around the top to start with, to get the roots going on all of these cuttings, and then I can water it a little bit more and a little bit more. We'll see how it goes. And as I said, this plant actually doesn't do very well if it's in a situation that's too low a light. It will stretch out and it will just start yellowing off and so forth. It really does need dappled light or bright indirect light in some way to keep it very happy. That's what I've found. And I've found it also doesn't like temperatures that are too warm during the winter time when it's warm and dry. So when I kept it in my hallway, where at night the temperature gets much colder than the rest of the house, and then it gets the southern exposure and the winter sun, which isn't too much, just enough because it's on the floor, it stayed very happy all winter for me. So I'm going to try and do the same thing, especially now I have all these cuttings, and hope this works out. So let's go in now for that closer look. So, right, for the close-up. And look at these gorgeous leaves in this sunshine. They're so amazingly silver sword-like. So many beautiful cuttings I have now in here. I actually lost count of how many. Look at this lovely new leaf that was about to burst. We'll see if that will be able to carry on now or not. And then all the way around here, around the back, a lovely leaf here. And then what I want to show you is that one of the mother stems, so if you look just here, you can see that there is a leaf about to come out on that stem that's bare now. So that will also grow out again very soon. So this is really, really perfect. All these beautiful leaves. And this plant just looks like an amazing, beautiful arrangement like this in its terracotta pot. Oh, that's lovely. And look at these gorgeous apples that I've just taken off my 2 apple trees that have just gone crazy for me this year. They're behind over there. Look at these. Wonderful. So I am really, really pleased with this transformation today. So I really hope you liked seeing this plant closer up in the new arrangement, and I hope this has encouraged you to go and sort out your own Philodendron hastatum silver sword if you feel that it needs to be done. Otherwise, you can just go in and prune a couple of stems and experiment and test those with soil propagation, water propagation, air layering, whichever way you want to. You can do it any different way. I just wanted to get this done quickly today, and that's why I've done this way. No fuss. And I'm really loving this plant, so please stay healthy for me. So if you haven't been back and seen my other videos about this wonderful plant, then I suggest you go back and see them, and then you'll get to see how this plant was before this stage. So all I have to say now is thank you very much once again for watching Gardens and Crystals with me, Wesley Peterson. Please remember to like, subscribe and hit the bell so you know when my next video will be coming up, and I will see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.